Hello everyone! If you're ready to boost your speaking skills, vocabulary and confidence in just 60 minutes, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and take your fluency to the next level. Hone in on. Hone in on. Meaning, to focus intently on something. To focus intently on something. The marketing team needs to hone in on the specific needs of our customers to improve sales. The marketing team needs to hone in on the specific needs of our customers to improve sales. Sift through. Sift through. Meaning, to carefully examine or sort through something in order to find what is important. To carefully examine or sort through something in order to find what is important. I had to sift through a pile of laundry to find my favourite shirt before heading out. I had to sift through a pile of laundry to find my favourite shirt before heading out. Cobble together. Cobble together. Meaning, to create something quickly or with limited resources, often using a mix of different elements. To create something quickly or with limited resources, often using a mix of different elements. We managed to cobble together some old furniture to make the living room more comfortable. We managed to cobble together some old furniture to make the living room more comfortable. Skimp on. Skimp on. Meaning, to use less of something than is needed or expected, often to save money or effort. To use less of something than is needed or expected, often to save money or effort. You shouldn't skimp on safety equipment when working in construction. You shouldn't skimp on safety equipment when working in construction. Iron out. Iron out. Meaning, to resolve difficulties or remove problems, often through discussion. To resolve difficulties or remove problems, often through discussion. They met to iron out the final details of the agreement. They met to iron out the final details of the agreement. Drum up. Drum up. Meaning, to generate interest, support, or business, often through energetic efforts. To generate interest, support, or business, often through energetic efforts. She needed to drum up support for her community event. She needed to drum up support for her community event. Cough up. Cough up. Meaning, to give something, often reluctantly, usually money. To give something, often reluctantly, usually money. He refused to cough up the cash for the charity donation. He refused to cough up the cash for the charity donation. Scale back. Scale back. Meaning, to reduce the size, scope, or extent of something. To reduce the size, scope, or extent of something. Due to budget cuts, the company had to scale back its operations. Due to budget cuts, The company had to scale back its operations. Tap into, tap into, meaning to make use of a resource or source of information. To make use of a resource or source of information. The company plans to tap into new markets to expand its business. The company plans to tap into new markets to expand its business. Bank on, meaning to rely on something happening. To rely on something happening. You can bank on her arriving early. She always does. You can bank on her arriving early. She always does. Bail out, meaning to help someone out of a difficult situation, often with money. To help someone out of a difficult situation, often with money. The government decided to bail out the struggling airline. The government decided to bail out the struggling airline. Drift off, meaning to gradually fall asleep or lose focus. To gradually fall asleep or lose focus. I tend to drift off during long, monotonous meetings. I tend to drift off during long, monotonous meetings. Opt out, meaning to choose not to participate in something. To choose not to participate in something. You can opt out of the company's retirement plan if you prefer. You can opt out of the company's retirement plan if you prefer. Pass off, meaning to present something as if it is something else, usually to deceive. To present something as if it is something else, usually to deceive. He tried to pass off the cheap imitation as a genuine antique. He tried to pass off the cheap imitation as a genuine antique. Fend off, meaning to defend oneself against something. To defend oneself against something. She managed to fend off the aggressive sales pitches by changing the subject. She managed to fend off the aggressive sales pitches by changing the subject. See through, meaning to recognize the true nature of something or someone. To recognize the true nature of something or someone. She could see through his lies and knew he was being dishonest. She could see through his lies and knew he was being dishonest. Roll out, meaning to introduce or launch something new. To introduce or launch something new. The company plans to roll out its new product line next month. The company plans to roll out its new product line next month. Draw up, meaning to prepare a document or plan. To prepare a document or plan. The lawyer will draw up the contract before the meeting. The lawyer will draw up the contract before the meeting. Account for. Account for. Meaning, to explain or justify something. To explain or justify something. Can you account for the discrepancy in the financial report? Can you account for the discrepancy in the financial report? Pull through. Pull through. Meaning, to recover from a difficult or challenging situation. To recover from a difficult or challenging situation. With support from his family, he managed to pull through his illness. With support from his family, he managed to pull through his illness. Set aside. Set aside. Meaning, to save or reserve something for a specific purpose. To save or reserve something for a specific purpose. He set aside some money for his children's education. He set aside some money for his children's education. Dwell on. Dwell on. Meaning, to think about or discuss something at length. To think about or discuss something at length. Try not to dwell on your mistakes. Focus on what you can do better next time. Try not to dwell on your mistakes. Focus on what you can do better next time. Knuckle down. Knuckle down. Meaning, to start working hard, especially after a period of idleness. To start working hard, especially after a period of idleness. He knew he had to knuckle down to finish his thesis on time. He knew he had to knuckle down to finish his thesis on time. Size up. Size up. Meaning, to evaluate or assess something or someone. To evaluate or assess something or someone. Before making an offer, the investor needed to size up the potential of the business. Before making an offer, the investor needed to size up the potential of the business. Zone out. Zone out. Meaning, to lose focus or become inattentive. To lose focus or become inattentive. He tends to zone out during long meetings. He tends to zone out during long meetings. Phase out. Phase out. Meaning, to gradually stop using or producing something. To gradually stop using or producing something. The company plans to phase out the old product line over the next year. The company plans to phase out the old product line over the next year. Cast off. Cast off. Meaning, to discard or get rid of something. To discard or get rid of something. She decided to cast off old habits that were no longer serving her well. She decided to cast off old habits that were no longer serving her well. Mind your P's and Q's. mind your P's and Q's, meaning to be careful with your behaviour or manners. To be careful with your behaviour or manners. Remember to mind your P's and Q's during the formal dinner. Remember to mind your P's and Q's during the formal dinner. Ruffle feathers. Ruffle feathers. Meaning to cause upset or disturbance, especially by challenging the status quo. To cause upset or disturbance, especially by challenging the status quo. She knew her bold proposal would ruffle feathers, but was determined to push for changes. She knew her bold proposal would ruffle feathers, but was determined to push for changes. Jump ship. Jump ship. Meaning to leave a job or organisation abruptly, often for a better opportunity. To leave a job or organisation abruptly, often for a better opportunity. Several employees decided to jump ship for higher paying jobs. Several employees decided to jump ship for higher paying jobs. Knock heads. Knock heads. Meaning to argue or have a conflict, often leading to a disagreement. To argue or have a conflict, often leading to a disagreement. The two managers had to knock heads to resolve the disagreement over the project. The two managers had to knock heads to resolve the disagreement over the project. Raise eyebrows. Raise eyebrows. Meaning to cause surprise or suspicion. To cause surprise or suspicion. She wore a daring dress to the gala, clearly wanting to raise eyebrows. She wore a daring dress to the gala, clearly wanting to raise eyebrows. Pull the plug. Pull the plug. Meaning to stop something from continuing. To stop something from continuing. The company decided to pull the plug on the failing project. The company decided to pull the plug on the failing project. Knock it down a notch. Knock it down a notch. Meaning to reduce the intensity or severity of something, often to be less boastful or aggressive. To reduce the intensity or severity of something, often to be less boastful or aggressive. He was getting too confident after the win, so his coach told him to knock it down a notch. He was getting too confident after the win, so his coach told him to knock it down a notch. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. Meaning to understand or infer something not explicitly stated. To understand or infer something not explicitly stated. She could read between the lines of his email and sensed he was unhappy. She could read between the lines of his email and sensed he was unhappy. Bear the cost. Bear the cost. Meaning to pay or cover the expenses of something. To pay or cover the expenses of something. The company will bear the cost of the employees' training programs to enhance their skills. The company will bear the cost of the employees' training programs to enhance their skills. Pave the way. Pave the way. Meaning, to create a path or prepare the conditions for something to happen or to be achieved. To create a path or prepare the conditions for something to happen or to be achieved. The new policy will pave the way for more inclusive workplace practices. The new policy will pave the way for more inclusive workplace practices. Turn a blind eye. Turn a blind eye. Meaning, to ignore something that one is aware of. To ignore something that one is aware of. In order to keep the peace, she decided to turn a blind eye to his occasional tardiness. In order to keep the peace, she decided to turn a blind eye to his occasional tardiness. Lay the groundwork. Lay the groundwork. Meaning, to prepare the initial steps or basic framework for something. To prepare the initial steps or basic framework for something. The initial research will lay the groundwork for the development of the new product. The initial research will lay the groundwork for the development of the new product. Draw attention. Draw attention. Meaning, to attract or focus interest on something or someone. To attract or focus interest on something or someone. The new advertising campaign was designed to draw attention to the company's latest product. The new advertising campaign was designed to draw attention to the company's latest product. On the fence. On the fence. Meaning, to be undecided or unsure about something. To be undecided or unsure about something. I'm still on the fence about whether to accept the job offer. I'm still on the fence about whether to accept the job offer. Run into problems. Run into problems. Meaning, to encounter difficulties or challenges. To encounter difficulties or challenges. If you don't follow the instructions carefully, you might run into problems during the project. If you don't follow the instructions carefully, you might run into problems during the project. In a nutshell. In a nutshell. Meaning, to summarize something briefly. To summarize something briefly. In a nutshell, the project was completed ahead of schedule and under budget. In a nutshell, the project was completed ahead of schedule and under budget. Cling to the past. Cling to the past. Meaning, to remain attached to or influenced by previous experiences or times. To remain attached to or influenced by previous experiences or times. She tends to cling to the past, often reminiscing about old friendships and former jobs. She tends to cling to the past, often reminiscing about old friendships and former jobs. Win hands down. Win hands down. Meaning, to win easily or with no difficulty. To win easily or with no difficulty. If the contest were based on creativity alone, her design would win hands down. If the contest were based on creativity alone, her design would win hands down. Carry weight. Carry weight. Meaning, to be influential or have significant importance. To be influential or have significant importance. Her years of experience will carry weight in the final decision for the promotion. Her years of experience will carry weight in the final decision for the promotion. Blow the chance. Blow the chance. Meaning, to miss or squander an opportunity. To miss or squander an opportunity. He knew that missing the deadline would blow the chance of getting the project approved. He knew that missing the deadline would blow the chance of getting the project approved. Join forces. Join forces. Meaning, to collaborate or work together with others to achieve a common goal. To collaborate or work together with others to achieve a common goal. The two companies decided to join forces to develop a new line of eco-friendly products. The two companies decided to join forces to develop a new line of eco-friendly products. Buckle under pressure. Buckle under pressure. Meaning, to yield or give in to stress, pressure, or demands. To yield or give in to stress, pressure, or demands. Despite his initial confidence, he began to buckle under pressure as the deadline approached. Despite his initial confidence, he began to buckle under pressure as the deadline approached. Sell like hotcakes. Sell like hotcakes. Meaning, to sell very quickly or in large quantities. To sell very quickly or in large quantities. The new smartphone will sell like hotcakes due to its innovative features. The new smartphone will sell like hotcakes due to its innovative features. Cut ties. Cut ties. Meaning, to sever or end a relationship or connection. To sever or end a relationship or connection. After the dispute, they decided to cut ties with the former business partner. After the dispute, they decided to cut ties with the former business partner. Think twice. Think twice. Meaning, to reconsider or reflect more carefully before making a decision. To reconsider or reflect more carefully before making a decision. You should think twice before investing in that venture. You should think twice before investing in that venture. Stand the test of time. Stand the test of time. Meaning, to remain effective, relevant, or enduring over a long period. To remain effective, relevant, or enduring over a long period. The book's insightful wisdom and timeless themes will stand the test of time. The book's insightful wisdom and timeless themes will stand the test of time. Bolt from the blue. Bolt from the blue. Meaning, a sudden and unexpected event or announcement. A sudden and unexpected event or announcement. The announcement of the company's closure was a bolt from the blue for all employees. The announcement of the company's closure was a bolt from the blue for all employees. Touch and go. Touch and go. Meaning, a situation that is uncertain or risky, with the outcome hanging in the balance. A situation that is uncertain or risky, with the outcome hanging in the balance. The surgery was touch and go for a while, but the patient is now recovering. The surgery was touch and go for a while, but the patient is now recovering. Fly under the radar. Fly under the radar. Meaning, to go unnoticed or undetected. To go unnoticed or undetected. She managed to fly under the radar and avoid any controversy. She managed to fly under the radar and avoid any controversy. Listen with an open mind. Listen with an open mind. Meaning, to listen without prejudgment or bias, being open to new ideas or perspectives. To listen without prejudgment or bias, being open to new ideas or perspectives. When discussing sensitive topics, it's important to listen with an open mind. When discussing sensitive topics, it's important to listen with an open mind. Touch base. Touch base. Meaning, to make contact with someone briefly to update or check in. To make contact with someone briefly to update or check in. Let's touch base next week to review the project's progress. Let's touch base next week to review the project's progress. Pick up steam. Pick up steam. Meaning, to gain momentum or become more effective. To gain momentum or become more effective. The new marketing campaign started slowly but began to pick up steam as word spread. The new marketing campaign started slowly but began to pick up steam as word spread. Bend over backwards. Bend over backwards. Meaning, to go out of one's way to help or accommodate someone. To go out of one's way to help or accommodate someone. The company will bend over backwards to ensure that the client's needs are met. The company will bend over backwards to ensure that the client's needs are met. Set the stage. Set the stage. Meaning, to create the conditions necessary for something to happen. To create the conditions necessary for something to happen. The CEO's speech set the stage for the announcement of the new company initiative. The CEO's speech set the stage for the announcement of the new company initiative. By the book. By the book. Meaning, Following the rules or procedures exactly. Following the rules or procedures exactly. The new manager is very strict and does everything by the book. The new manager is very strict and does everything by the book. A case in point. A case in point. Meaning, an example that clearly illustrates a point or argument. An example that clearly illustrates a point or argument. The company's recent success is a case in point of how effective strategic planning can be. The company's recent success is a case in point of how effective strategic planning can be. Bring to light. Bring to light. Meaning, to reveal or make something known that was previously hidden or unknown. To reveal or make something known that was previously hidden or unknown. The upcoming report will bring to light new evidence about the project's success. The upcoming report will bring to light new evidence about the project's success. The writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. Meaning, there are clear signs that something will soon happen, usually something negative. There are clear signs that something will soon happen, usually something negative. With declining sales and increasing debt, the writing is on the wall for the company's future. With declining sales and increasing debt, the writing is on the wall for the company's future. Beat around the bush. Beat around the bush. Meaning, to avoid getting to the point of a matter or to speak indirectly. To avoid getting to the point of a matter or to speak indirectly. She appreciated that he didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point in the meeting. She appreciated that he didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point in the meeting. Cast in stone. Cast in stone. Meaning, something that is fixed and cannot be changed. Something that is fixed and cannot be changed. The schedule isn't cast in stone. We can still make adjustments if necessary. The schedule isn't cast in stone. We can still make adjustments if necessary. Grasp at straws. Grasp at straws. Meaning, to make a desperate attempt or seek unlikely solutions. To make a desperate attempt or seek unlikely solutions. Realizing they were out of options, they began to grasp at straws to save the company. Realizing they were out of options, they began to grasp at straws to save the company. In the thick of it. In the thick of it. Meaning, to be deeply involved in a difficult or chaotic situation. To be deeply involved in a difficult or chaotic situation. During the crisis, the CEO was right in the thick of it, managing the response. During the crisis, the CEO was right in the thick of it, managing the response. Take the plunge. take the plunge, meaning to commit to a course of action that is risky or involves significant change. To commit to a course of action that is risky or involves significant change. After months of hesitation, she decided to take the plunge and start her own business. After months of hesitation, she decided to take the plunge and start her own business. Put a sock in it. Put a sock in it. Meaning, to tell someone to be quiet or stop talking. To tell someone to be quiet or stop talking. I'd wish you put a sock in it. I'm trying to concentrate on my work. I'd wish you'd put a sock in it. I'm trying to concentrate on my work. In the driver's seat. In the driver's seat. Meaning, to be in control of a situation. To be in control of a situation. With the new promotion, she's finally in the driver's seat of her career. With the new promotion, she's finally in the driver's seat of her career. Play it by ear. Play it by ear. Meaning, to improvise or handle a situation as it unfolds without a predetermined plan. To improvise or handle a situation as it unfolds without a predetermined plan. We don't have a set plan for the weekend. Let's just play it by ear. We don't have a set plan for the weekend. Let's just play it by ear. Lock, stock and barrel. Lock, stock and barrel. Meaning, including everything, completely. Including everything, completely. They bought the business lock, stock and barrel, taking over all its assets and liabilities. They bought the business lock, stock and barrel, taking over all its assets and liabilities. On a shoestring. On a shoestring. Meaning, with very limited financial resources. With very limited financial resources. They travelled around Europe on a shoestring, staying in hostels and eating cheap meals. They travelled around Europe on a shoestring, staying in hostels and eating cheap meals. Nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. Meaning, to stop something before it becomes a bigger problem. To stop something before it becomes a bigger problem. The manager decided to nip it in the bud by addressing the issue immediately. The manager decided to nip it in the bud by addressing the issue immediately. Jump through hoops. Jump through hoops. Meaning, to face many challenges to achieve something. To face many challenges to achieve something. To get the permit, we had to jump through hoops and fill out countless forms. To get the permit, we had to jump through hoops and fill out countless forms. Ecstatic. Ecstatic. Meaning, overwhelmingly happy. Overwhelmingly happy. She was ecstatic when she received the job offer. She was ecstatic when she received the job offer. Melancholy, melancholy, meaning a deep, persistent sadness. A deep, persistent sadness. The old house filled her with a sense of melancholy. The old house filled her with a sense of melancholy. Apprehensive, apprehensive, meaning anxious or fearful about the future. Anxious or fearful about the future. He felt apprehensive about starting his new job. He felt apprehensive about starting his new job. Elated, elated, meaning extremely happy and excited. Extremely happy and excited. She was elated to hear the good news. She was elated to hear the good news. Disillusioned, disillusioned, meaning disappointed by something previously admired or believed. Disappointed by something previously admired or believed. He felt disillusioned with the political system. He felt disillusioned with the political system. Jubilant, jubilant, meaning feeling or expressing great happiness and triumph. Feeling or expressing great happiness and triumph. The team was jubilant after winning the championship. The team was jubilant after winning the championship. Anxious, anxious, meaning worried or uneasy about something. Worried or uneasy about something. She felt anxious before the big presentation. She felt anxious before the big presentation. Envious, envious, meaning feeling of discontented or resentful longing for someone else's possessions or qualities. Feeling of discontented or resentful longing for someone else's possessions or qualities. He was envious of his friend's success. He was envious of his friend's success. Content, content, meaning in a state of peaceful happiness. In a state of peaceful happiness. She felt content with her simple lifestyle. She felt content with her simple lifestyle. Apathetic, apathetic, meaning showing or feeling no interest, enthusiasm or concern. Showing or feeling no interest, enthusiasm or concern. He was apathetic about the upcoming election. He was apathetic about the upcoming election. Overwhelmed, overwhelmed, meaning feeling overpowered by emotions or situations. Feeling overpowered by emotions or situations. She felt overwhelmed by the amount of work on her desk. She felt overwhelmed by the amount of work on her desk. Pensive, pensive, meaning engaged in deep or serious thought. Engaged in deep or serious thought. He sat in a pensive mood, reflecting on his life. He sat in a pensive mood, reflecting on his life. Exasperated, exasperated, meaning intensely irritated and frustrated. Intensely irritated and frustrated. She was exasperated by her brother's constant interruptions. She was exasperated by her brother's constant interruptions. Nostalgic, nostalgic, meaning longing for the past, often with a sense of sadness. Longing for the past, often with a sense of sadness. Looking through old photos made her feel nostalgic. Looking through old photos made her feel nostalgic. Resentful, resentful, meaning feeling bitterness or indignation at having been treated unfairly. Feeling bitterness or indignation at having been treated unfairly. He was resentful of the favoritism shown by his boss. He was resentful of the favoritism shown by his boss. Astonished, astonished, meaning greatly surprised or impressed, amazed. Greatly surprised or impressed, amazed. She was astonished by the unexpected gift. She was astonished by the unexpected gift. Frustrated, frustrated, meaning feeling or expressing distress and annoyance, especially because of an inability to change or achieve something. Feeling or expressing distress and annoyance, especially because of an inability to change or achieve something. She was frustrated by the lack of progress. She was frustrated by the lack of progress. Hopeful, hopeful, meaning feeling or inspiring optimism about a future event. Feeling or inspiring optimism about a future event. He remained hopeful that things would improve. He remained hopeful that things would improve. Conflicted, conflicted, meaning having or showing feelings that are contradictory. Having or showing feelings that are contradictory. She felt conflicted about moving to a new city. She felt conflicted about moving to a new city. Relieved, relieved, meaning feeling reassurance and relaxation after a period of anxiety. Feeling reassurance and relaxation after a period of anxiety. He was relieved when he found his lost wallet. He was relieved when he found his lost wallet. Insecure, insecure, meaning lacking confidence or assurance, self-doubtful. Lacking confidence or assurance, self-doubtful. She felt insecure about her abilities at work. She felt insecure about her abilities at work. Grateful, grateful, meaning feeling or showing thanks or appreciation. Feeling or showing thanks or appreciation. She was grateful for the help she received from her friends. She was grateful for the help she received from her friends. Bewildered, bewildered, meaning completely puzzled or confused. Completely puzzled or confused. He was bewildered by the complex instructions. He was bewildered by the complex instructions. Affectionate, affectionate, meaning showing love and tenderness. Showing love and tenderness. She gave him an affectionate hug. She gave him an affectionate hug. Impatient, impatient, meaning having or showing a tendency to be quickly irritated or provoked. Having or showing a tendency to be quickly irritated or provoked. He grew impatient waiting in the long line. He grew impatient waiting in the long line. Guilty, guilty, meaning feeling responsible for a specified wrongdoing. Feeling responsible for a specified wrongdoing. She felt guilty about forgetting her friend's birthday. She felt guilty about forgetting her friend's birthday. Resigned, resigned, meaning accepting something unpleasant that one cannot do anything about. Accepting something unpleasant that one cannot do anything about. He was resigned to the fact that he would have to work late. He was resigned to the fact that he would have to work late. Exhilarated, exhilarated, meaning feeling very happy, animated or elated. Feeling very happy, animated or elated. She felt exhilarated after finishing the marathon. She felt exhilarated after finishing the marathon. Distraught, distraught, meaning deeply upset and agitated. Deeply upset and agitated. She was distraught after hearing the bad news. She was distraught after hearing the bad news. Sympathetic, sympathetic, meaning feeling, showing or expressing sympathy. Feeling, showing or expressing sympathy. He was sympathetic to her struggles. He was sympathetic to her struggles. Dismayed, dismayed, meaning feeling distressed or upset by something unexpected. Feeling distressed or upset by something unexpected. She was dismayed by the sudden cancellation of the event. She was dismayed by the sudden cancellation of the event. Admiring, admiring, meaning showing respect and warm approval. Showing respect and warm approval. He looked at her with an admiring gaze. He looked at her with an admiring gaze. Embarrassed, embarrassed, meaning feeling awkward, self-conscious or ashamed. Feeling awkward, self-conscious or ashamed. She felt embarrassed after tripping in front of the crowd. She felt embarrassed after tripping in front of the crowd. Indifferent, indifferent, meaning having no particular interest or sympathy, unconcerned. Having no particular interest or sympathy, unconcerned. He was indifferent to the outcome of the game. He was indifferent to the outcome of the game. Optimistic, optimistic, meaning hopeful and confident about the future. Hopeful and confident about the future. She was optimistic about her chances of getting the job. She was optimistic about her chances of getting the job. Humbled, humbled, meaning feeling a modest or low estimate of one's importance. feeling a modest or low estimate of one's importance. He was humbled by the outpouring of support from his friends. He was humbled by the outpouring of support from his friends. Curious, curious, meaning eager to know or learn something. Eager to know or learn something. She was curious about the new neighbours who just moved in. She was curious about the new neighbours who just moved in. Disheartened, disheartened, meaning having lost determination or confidence, discouraged. Having lost determination or confidence, discouraged. He felt disheartened after receiving multiple rejections. He felt disheartened after receiving multiple rejections. Vulnerable, vulnerable, meaning susceptible to physical or emotional harm. Susceptible to physical or emotional harm. She felt vulnerable after sharing her secret with him. She felt vulnerable after sharing her secret with him. Eager, eager, meaning wanting to do or have something very much. Wanting to do or have something very much. He was eager to start his new job. He was eager to start his new job. Bitter, bitter, meaning having or showing a strong resentment or disappointment. Having or showing a strong resentment or disappointment. He felt bitter about the unfair treatment he received. He felt bitter about the unfair treatment he received. Skeptical, skeptical, meaning not easily convinced, having doubts or reservations. Not easily convinced, having doubts or reservations. She was skeptical about the claims made in the advertisement. She was skeptical about the claims made in the advertisement. Cheerful, cheerful, meaning noticeably happy and optimistic. Noticeably happy and optimistic. He was always cheerful, even on rainy days. He was always cheerful, even on rainy days. Dejected, dejected, meaning sad and depressed, dispirited. Sad and depressed, dispirited. She felt dejected after failing the exam. She felt dejected after failing the exam. Ashamed, ashamed, meaning embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions, characteristics, or associations. Embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions, characteristics, or associations. He was ashamed of his behaviour at the party. He was ashamed of his behaviour at the party. Inspired, inspired, meaning filled with the urge or ability to do something, especially something creative. Filled with the urge or ability to do something, especially something creative. She felt inspired after attending the motivational seminar. She felt inspired after attending the motivational seminar. Regretful, regretful, meaning feeling or showing regret. Feeling or showing regret. He was regretful for not attending the wedding. He was regretful for not attending the wedding. Proud, proud, meaning feeling deep pleasure or satisfaction as a result of one's own achievements, qualities or possessions. Feeling deep pleasure or satisfaction as a result of one's own achievements, qualities or possessions. She was proud of her daughter for graduating with honours. She was proud of her daughter for graduating with honours. Perplexed, perplexed, meaning completely baffled, very puzzled. Completely baffled, very puzzled. She was perplexed by the confusing instructions. She was perplexed by the confusing instructions. Yearning, yearning, meaning a feeling of intense longing for something. A feeling of intense longing for something. She felt a yearning to return to her childhood home. She felt a yearning to return to her childhood home. Infuriated, infuriated, meaning extremely angry, extremely angry. He was infuriated by the rude comment. He was infuriated by the rude comment. Confident, confident, meaning feeling or showing confidence in oneself, self-assured. Feeling or showing confidence in oneself, self-assured. She felt confident going into the interview. She felt confident going into the interview. Amazed, amazed, meaning greatly surprised or impressed. Greatly surprised or impressed. He was amazed by the magician's performance. He was amazed by the magician's performance. Isolated, isolated, meaning feeling alone or apart from others. Feeling alone or apart from others. She felt isolated after moving to a new city. She felt isolated after moving to a new city. Sorrowful, sorrowful, meaning feeling or showing deep distress, sadness or regret. Feeling or showing deep distress, sadness or regret. The news of his passing left her feeling sorrowful. The news of his passing left her feeling sorrowful. Startled, startled, meaning surprised and slightly frightened. Surprised and slightly frightened. She was startled by the sudden loud noise. She was startled by the sudden loud noise. Reluctant, reluctant, meaning unwilling and hesitant. Unwilling and hesitant. He was reluctant to take on the additional responsibilities. He was reluctant to take on the additional responsibilities. Rejuvenated, rejuvenated, meaning feeling fresher, younger or more lively. Feeling fresher, younger or more lively. After a long holiday, she felt rejuvenated and ready to return to work. After a long holiday, she felt rejuvenated and ready to return to work. Lonely, lonely, meaning sad because one has no friends or company. Sad because one has no friends or company. He felt lonely after all his friends moved away. He felt lonely after all his friends moved away. Vindicated, vindicated, meaning clear of blame or suspicion, justified. Clear of blame or suspicion, justified. She felt vindicated when the truth came out. She felt vindicated when the truth came out.